Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And if you're an Eagles fan watching the program, I know you had a great weekend. And when the Eagles punch their ticket to a Super Bowl, of course, your week is going to get off to a great start. And that's exactly what we're talking about on the show here today, because the Birds are Super Bowl bound. Philadelphia heading to their second Super Bowl in 3 years after shellacking the Washington Commanders 55-23. Just a dominant performance from Nick Sirianni's club. Kellen Moore was in his bag. Vic Fangio was as well. And the execution was displayed. Offense, defense, special teams. Those 55 points for the Eagles, the most ever in an NFC Championship game. The Birds also ran for 7 rushing touchdowns. The most previously in a conference championship was 5. And those 7 touchdowns on the ground, more than the Dallas Cowboys had throughout the entire duration of the 2024 campaign. And Philadelphia, a key to their Super Bowl run, playing clean football offensively, manufacturing turnovers on defense and on special teams. Philadelphia tallying 4 more turnovers against Washington, and they are up in the turnover battle 10-0 in the playoffs. If they can be in the green against Kansas City, it could go a long way in having another championship parade in Philadelphia, and the Eagles bringing home their second Lombardi trophy. And how about this? The Eagles' drive chart yesterday wasn't a busy day for Braden Mann, and that's fine with me. It's fine for you. First drive for the Eagles, touchdown. Saquon Barkley on the first touch, 60 yards to the cribbo. Second drive, another Saquon Barkley scamper as he got the edge. Third drive of the game, Jake Elliott missed a 54-yard field goal. That is still a massive concern for me moving forward, because when you play the Chiefs, they make the big plays and they don't shoot themselves in the foot, and you have to win on the margins. And they have now won 17 straight one-possession games and one-score games. And so points are going to come at a premium. Jake Elliott has to get back on track, and he has to get it together. We've seen him split the uprights with clutch kick after clutch kick throughout his NFL career. But this year in 2024, into this playoff run, he's been way too spotty. And Harrison Butker is now 11 of 11 on his last 11 field goal attempts in fourth quarter and in overtime in the playoffs. But then the Eagles, after that missed 54-yard field goal from Elliott, touchdown. Sixth drive of the game. That was when Braden Mann debuted in the NFC title bout. He punted for the first time. Eagles score a touchdown punt, touchdown, and then they round out the game with 2 more touchdowns. Will Shipley finding the end zone to give the Eagles that 50-burger, his first career rushing touchdown after being that 4th-round pick out of Clemson back in April's NFL draft. And then the 12th drive, of course. All the Eagles had to do was kneel it out and end the ball game. And then a celebration ensued at Lincoln Financial Field, and there was green and white confetti falling from the sky in South Philadelphia. Couple of images I want to pass along because it just gives me so much juice on a Victory Monday. Jalen Hurts looking at his second NFC Championship trophy that he's won as a starting quarterback in the last 3 years. In the locker room, Hurts entered the stadium wearing a Kangol. He left backwards hat, celebrating a trip to the Super Bowl, smoking a stogie in the locker room. Vibes and aura right there. Jeffrey Lurie, one of the best owners in professional sports and in the NFL since 2001. The Eagles have made it to 8 NFC Championship games, and they have now won in 2004, 2017, 2022, and now in 2024. And that is 4 NFC title games for Jeffrey Lurie. He has 4 of the 5 in franchise history. Continues to run a flawless operation alongside Howie Roseman. And then A.J. Brown also looking up as the confetti is raining down, looking at that trophy. And how about a couple of winners right here? Nick Sirianni is the only coach in the history of this organization to make it to 2 Super Bowls. Jalen Hurts as a head coach. And Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the history of the Eagles to also make it to 2 Super Bowls. This era, Sirianni, Hurts, this regime is known for winning big, and winning a lot. And can they round out this season with a Super Bowl championship, thus ending the Kansas City Chiefs' quest for a three-peat? Super Bowl 59 going down in 2 Sundays in New Orleans. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid against Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni. We're going to continue to give you great coverage and preview this game in the days and pretty much the 2 weeks leading up to the ball game. And myself and Chip, we will be giving you coverage from New Orleans. Birds are Super Bowl bound. If you're enjoying this Victory Monday, before we continue to push forward on today's show, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And the channel here, it is so hot. Under the Chat Sports umbrella, no channel has picked up more subscribers in the last month than Eagles Now. Almost 7,000 real ones have hit that sub button going into the Rams game during our pregame show. That was when we surpassed 100,000 subscribers. We're already approaching 105K, so lock us in, hit that sub button, because Eagles Now will be live from New Orleans starting on Sunday. Speaking of Super Bowl 59, the line is out. Kansas City Chiefs, 1.5-point favorites. Nowadays, betting against Mahomes and Reid is like betting back in the day against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The over-under pretty high at 49.5. At the Superdome in New Orleans, turf surface. So it's going to be a fast track that could lead to some offense. Kickoff set for Sunday, February 9th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. out there on the West Coast. And you know Eagles fans are going to take over the Big Easy, and it's going to be a party. And if you want to party alongside Chip and myself, hit me up on social media at Chase_Senior. This is why I believe that the Eagles can dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. Philadelphia is deeper, more talented, more complete, more well-rounded and diverse as a football club. They can dominate both sides of the line of scrimmage. Best offensive line in football, and arguably the best defensive line in football. And that defensive line has led to Vic Fangio's unit being the #1 overall defense in the NFL. And at this juncture of the season, we have seen defenses beat better offenses. The Eagles also, with that ground attack, led by Saquon Barkley, who is on a straight-up heater right now, home run after home run like he's Barry Bonds in the early 2000s, they have an opportunity to really have success on the ground, win time of possession, score points, and when you control the football, what happens? You keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. Now, back in Super Bowl 57, the Eagles won time of possession by 11 minutes. Patrick Mahomes threw for less than 200 yards. The Chiefs did run for more than 180 yards, but they did a pretty good job of limiting Mahomes, but the Chiefs still won that game. They're just so good in closely contested ball games. Furthermore, for Philadelphia, though, Vic Fangio and this Eagles defense this year, so much better than that Eagles defense 2 years ago under Jonathan Gannon. You have a better overall unit, more talent, you're better at all three levels, and a better coach calling the plays in Fangio over Gannon. I think this Eagles team in totality is a better roster than they were in 2022. The experience from that year helps them in this spot. If you can get the NFC Championship game Hurts, who was nearly perfect and flawless, the offense becomes more multiple and so hard to stop. You're going to go all out and trying to stop Saquon Barkley? All right. Hurts can pull the trigger and has a plethora of weapons to throw the football to. You want to take away the pass game, Eagles are going to win those matchups in the trenches. Philadelphia, this is also a part of Nick Sirianni being a great coach. They are disciplined and a well-coached team, and Philadelphia can wear teams down throughout 4 quarters, and they, like the Chiefs, have made clutch plays, and they've won a lot of close games. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they have won 17 straight one-score games. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Spags, they are so special. One of the best, if not the best, head coach, defensive coordinator, quarterback trios that we've seen in NFL history. And the Chiefs always find a way to make the big play. They're like a boa constrictor. They keep it close, and then by the end of the game, they just find a way to suffocate you. They thrive in the pressure cooker, and they're so cool, calm, and collected in these spots where other teams have folded. With Spags, Kellen and Jalen Hurts have to be ready, and they have to have answers to his exotic and creative blitz packages. he is going to send pressure from everywhere. He's going to disguise that pressure. And sometimes, because of that, free guys will come from that corner blitz. And so Jeff Stoutland is going to play a role in having this Eagles offensive line prepared for that. The Chiefs defense, the anchor of it, Chris Jones, they are truly elite at all three levels like the Eagles are. We saw against Buffalo how good they are in short yardage, and against the run, they are top 10 in yards per carry and rushing yards per game. The Mahomes run game, he is sneaky athletic, and for whatever reason, players seem afraid to hit him, probably because he's baited defenders into hitting him, and then he stays in bounds or he draws a penalty with a LeBron James-like flop. But he's also fast and deceptively quick, and physical, so he can find success in the ground game there. Philadelphia has to be ready for that. Going to have disciplined pass rush lanes like they did against Jaden Daniels. But I will say with the Chiefs, their running back wide receiver talent is quite meh. Like Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy are very quick, but they're not all-around wide receivers. Outside of that, Juju Smith-Schuster is their number 3. Travis Kelce always plays well in these massive playoff games when the lights are bright. But even he has lost a step a little bit, but Philadelphia still has to be cognizant of where 87 is on every single play. And to beat Kansas City, you have to win on the margins. Penalties, turnovers, missed opportunities. You have to capitalize on momentum. Chiefs always make big special teams plays. It's always the little things that they perfect, and they never mess up. And so my Super Bowl 59 thoughts here. The Chiefs are definitely better at quarterback and head coach. Those are the two most important spots in football. But the Eagles are better overall. They were also better overall in 2022, and they still lost. Jalen Hurts accounted for 4 touchdowns, had nearly 400 yards of total offense by himself. The Eagles' defense, not bad, but the Chiefs really capitalized in the red zone, and Jonathan Gannon got schooled there. I will say the Eagles could not really run it in that game. I think they're going to be able to run it against Kansas City because Buffalo had similar success in running the football. The Eagles dethroned Tom Brady and Bill Belichick back in Super Bowl 52. So they have performed well in spots like this as underdogs when all of America was against them. And Philadelphia can slay the dragon here and deny the Chiefs their three-peat. It is time to embrace the underdog mentality, shock the world, and I think the Eagles are going to be able to do that. They only lose if they beat themselves. But the thing is, a lot of teams beat themselves going up against Kansas City. If you want the Birds to destroy the Chiefs, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and type FKC down in the comment section. A lot more to get to here on the show, but first, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, our friends at Game Time. If you want to go to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, no better app to use than Game Time, and we can help you out too. You can experience the Super Bowl atmosphere alongside thousands of Eagles fans. You can take some drinks down on Bourbon Street, but also you can save money going to the game if you download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Thanks to Game Time Picks. It is a new feature where instead of having to sort through thousands of tickets, you get the best price point and the best vantage point. And that leads me to my next point. I love on the Game Time app how you can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. In the Superdome, it gets really loud in there. Going to make for a special environment. For the Eagles, they had 70 sacks back in 2022, none in the Super Bowl because they were slipping on that grass surface. Not going to slip on some turf, and so this Eagles defensive line can help lift them to a victory, and if you want to see it live, do it with the Game Time app. Also, not just an app for sporting events. You can go to concerts, comedy shows, theater events, and a whole lot more. $20 off. Use that code, CHATSPORTS. All right, we move forward on today's show. It is time to put respect on Jalen Hurts' name. The Eagles let him out of his straitjacket, as he said after the game, and his play, I thought, was the story of the Eagles putting up 55 points and going to their second Super Bowl in 3 years. He was great. Completed 71% of his passes. He threw for 246 yards. On non-throwaways, he was 20 of 24, 4 total touchdowns, no turnovers, and had a passer rating of 110.1. And how about his resume the last 3 years? 2-time NFC champion, 2-time Pro Bowler, one-time All-Pro. He has 121 total touchdowns. That's second most among all quarterbacks in the game. He has 51 rushing touchdowns, the most by any player. 42 wins, which is second among quarterbacks. And oh yeah, he was an MVP runner-up in 2022. He's also the first quarterback in 33 years to reach a Super Bowl after losing his first Super Bowl appearance. And the Eagles this year have relied on their strengths, which have taken away from the passing game. They have a great running game. Saquon Barkley is a star. He's Superman. They have the best offensive line in football. You stick with your identity. That's smart. You stray away from it, you go pass happy. That's dumb. And when Hurts has had to throw it, he has produced when asked. And if the Eagles and Jalen Hurts perform like that offensively against Kansas City, Philadelphia will win Super Bowl 59. And how about this? Multiple Super Bowl appearances in their first 5 years. Jalen Hurts becomes the 8th player to do that, and he joins forces alongside John Elway, Troy Aikman, Kurt Warner, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady. All of those quarterbacks either are in the Hall of Fame, will go to the Hall of Fame. The one debatable player might be Russell Wilson, but I'd make the argument he's a Hall of Fame player. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, the coach who he's teamed up with over the last few years, and we've seen all this success be the end result, is Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is an elite head coach. From being on the hot seat and losing 6 of 7 games to end last year to making it to 2 Super Bowls in 3 seasons. There have only been 3 coaches in NFL history to go to multiple Super Bowls in their first 4 years as a head coach. Joe Gibbs, who won 3 Super Bowls with the Redskins, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Nick Sirianni. Culture matters. You don't have to call plays to be an elite coach in this league. Nick Sirianni's been able to develop culture. He's been able to develop players and other coaches. And how about this Eagles team? 10-0 in the turnover battle during the postseason, not shooting themselves in the foot. So sound, offense, defense, special teams. That is the job of the head coach. Game management, also huge. I thought Nick Sirianni needed to match Dan Quinn's aggressiveness. How about 2 minutes to go in the first half? Eagles lead trimmed to 2, 14-12, 4th and 5. You don't have trust in your kicker. And what does Nick Sirianni do? Goes for it. Jalen Hurts throws a dime to A.J. Brown, gets you into the red zone, and then the Eagles score, able to extend their lead, capture momentum, got the ball back to start the third. And that was pretty much the ball game right there. Nick Sirianni managed the game, and he coached better than Dan Quinn, who also doesn't call plays. You don't have to call plays to be an elite coach in this league. Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Dan Campbell, Dan Quinn, all didn't call plays or don't call plays. It's not the end-all be-all for being a head coach in the National Football League. And then there's Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman is the best general manager in football. It's not close. This dude is special. His fingerprints and his moves are all over this Eagles Super Bowl roster, and he's a big reason why the Eagles are going to their second Super Bowl in 3 seasons. Look at what he's done in the first 3 rounds of the last 4 drafts. In 2024, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Hunt. 2023, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Tyler Steen. 2022, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean. 2021, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams. Literally all of these players played a massive role this year, helping the Eagles win 14 games, get the number 2 seed, and win the NFC East. And a bulk of these players, everybody who was healthy, was a part of this Eagles victory, putting up 55 points to punch their ticket to New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. And in the salary cap era, since it started in 1994, Howie Roseman is the 4th GM in NFL history to build 3 Super Bowl rosters with the same franchise. Bill Belichick, Brett Veach, Kevin Colbert, the others to do that. And a Howie Roseman pick, Quinyon Mitchell. Quinyon was on display yesterday. I got bars. He lined up against Terry McLaurin on 36 of his 48 routes, 75%, aligning in press coverage on half of those matchups. Mitchell allowed 1 catch for 7 yards on 4 targets against McLaurin, including the 4th quarter interception to seal the ball game. As for some coaching notes an analysis that I have. Kellen Moore, he was in his bag yesterday. We saw new plays, we saw good designs, and quick hitters in the passing game. A criticism of me with this Eagles offense over the last couple of years, long developing routes. And when nothing is open, Jalen Hurts is kind of a dead duck out there. Well, we saw new plays, pop passes to Devontae Smith, end arounds to Dallas Goedert, putting Jalen Hurts on the move, getting rid of the ball quickly so that Jalen Hurts didn't have to think, takes the snap, sees what the defense is doing, lets it rip. And it allows these Eagles weapons to pick up easy yards after the catch, and it caters to your athletic offensive line that loves getting out in space on those pull blocks to block at that second and third level. Now the next challenge for Kellen Moore, finding answers against the Spags blitz calls, because you know that they're coming, but can you stop it? If you're still rocking with us on today's show, go Birds. Give me a real one down below. We appreciate you, and don't forget to hit that sub button.